The kitchens of Henry VIII at Hampton-Court Palace are the largest surviving Renaissance kitchens in Europe, occupying 1/3 of the ground floor of the palace. That's 36,000 square feet. They have become internationally famous as the home of Tudor food. Today, they are home to a unique project, a team of food historians who have been given the challenge to learn from actually using them as they would have been used 500 years ago. For about 50 days a year, the kitchens come back to life. Starting with recipe research, surviving cookbooks are compared with lists of food ordered by the court 500 years ago. Then the kitchens are filled with the right equipment: pots, bowls, platters, knives, cauldrons, spits, pestles and mortars. Even the furniture has been researched and reconstructed. Finally, the same cookery techniques are used: roasting, boiling, frying and baking. And all this in the actual rooms that were used to cook food for the court of King Henry VIII, the legendary consumer of both food and women. It would be better to describe them as a food factory than a kitchen. The numbers are just staggering. The court, the people living and working with the king, would often number 600, and they were fed twice a day. We would have trouble organising all that today with motor transport and refrigeration. But it functioned 500 years ago using an army of cooks and clerks, river transport and carts. Ingredients arrived raw and unprocessed at the kitchen gates, where an army of kitchen staff were set to work, chopping, grinding, sieving and mixing. Once the raw ingredients had been prepared by the kitchen staff, they could go on to become meals. The kitchens were divided up like a factory, each section doing a single job that would become part of the meal. Bakehouses for bread, pastry rooms for pie making, boiling houses to prepare stews and pie fillings, a confectionery to make all manner of sweet stuff, and the final part of the kitchens, the roasting rooms. Real roast meat has lost its Tudor status. For meat to be roasted, it has to be put on a spit and turned before a fire, not baked in an oven like we do today. The roast meat meant you were royally rich, and all your guests would have known it, especially if they were served a swan or a peacock. You roasted fresh meat, a luxury when most of the Tudor world ate theirs cured, smoked, salted or pickled in brine. And it uses lots more fuel. You even have to pay the spit turners' wages. In fact, every dish was a statement of wealth from your host, the king. Court food was all about imagery. Your guests were educated people. They knew that if you could afford spices, it meant that you'd paid for them to be brought halfway around the world on a ship from the Orient. Sweets of boiled, cast, coloured and shaped sugar were the ultimate sign of wealth. So much so that they even covered some of them in pure gold. Imagine that, eating the king's gold. Subtleties, elegant table decorations in shapes as extravagant as castles, ships and saints, were made by a team of skilled artists and designed to amuse and wow the guests. Henry VIII's kitchens at Hampton-Court Palace are a remarkable survival from a bygone age. They help us to link the history of wars, politics and paintings with the real lives of those who lived, worked and ate here, both rich and poor. Let's face it, everyone has to eat.